Level 1 Tables, Equations and Graphs video. We're still talking parabolic functions and we're going to talk about factored form. Now we've already explained in algebra that when we have quadratics in two brackets, it's called factored form, and we can multiply them out to expanded form. Keep in mind that when we use factored form for drawing the graphs of parabolas, we may find that there is a number out the front, a scale called A, and there might be numbers inside which could be plus or minus, which we'll talk more about in this video. Here's example 1. Y is equal to bracket x plus 2 close bracket times bracket x minus 3 close bracket. Now keep in mind there's a number out the front called A, which is 1. We just don't need to put it there because 1 times something is just whatever it is, something itself. All right, so here's what the graph looks like for this parabola. Now let's explain a couple of things. This parabola has 2 points which pass through the x-axis. These 2 points here, we call them roots. It's a very old-fashioned word, roots. Another word mathematicians use is the x-intercepts. And the graph crosses the x-axis twice, so there are 2 roots. Now I need you to keep in mind that the first root is at -2, but inside the brackets we have +2. You might vaguely remember a video previously that when we deal with brackets and graphs, we often refer to the opposite. So if it's a +2, the root is -2. Also notice the other root is over here at +3, but in brackets we write it as minus or subtract 3. That's because it's the opposite. Right, here's example 2. Y is equal to x plus 3 times x minus 1. Here's what the graph looks like. And once again, there are 2 roots or x-intercepts. The first here is at -3, and inside the brackets we write it as x plus 3, the opposite. The other root is here at +1, and inside the brackets we write it as x subtract 1 or x minus 1. Right, so here's example number 3. Y is equal to bracket x plus 4 times x minus 4. Here's what it looks like. Here are our 2 roots or x-intercepts. Notice again we have a root here at -1, but we have written inside the brackets x plus 1, and we have a root here at +4, but we've written inside the brackets x minus 4. Now we've got roots, we've got another point down here which crosses over the y-axis. This is called the y-intercept. So we have x-intercepts where it crosses over the x-axis. We have a y-intercept where the graph crosses over the y-axis. You should remember that word from the linear function work. We also have a point down here which we've talked about before called the vertex. All these points, the x-intercepts or roots, the y-intercept, and the vertex are what we refer to as features of this graph, of this parabola. So let's show you how we find these features based on the rule. Let's start off with the roots and intercepts. How would you find the roots and intercepts if you were given just the rule, not the graph? Well, that's easy. If you see a +1 in the brackets, you know the first root is at -1. And if you see a -4 in brackets, you know the other root is at +4. So that's how you find your roots. How would you find your y-intercept if you didn't have the graph, just had the rule? Well, the easy way to find the y-intercept is to put x equal to 0. So write down the equation, but every time you see an x, put 0. So we're going to go 0 plus 1 in the first bracket, and 0 minus 4 in the second bracket. And in the first bracket, 0 plus 1 is 1. In the second bracket, 0 minus 4 is -4. So we're going to have 1 times -4, which is -4. That tells us where the y-intercept is by putting the value of x equal to 0. Right, the last thing is how do you find the vertex from the rule? Well, the first thing to do is take the 2 roots, -1 and +4, and add them together and divide it by 2, and you'll get halfway between, which is 1.5, 1.5. Now, if I draw a line down at 1.5, you'll see the vertex is on that line. So all I do now is put 1.5 into the rule every time I see an x. Go 1.5 plus 1 times 1.5 minus 4, and that gives me -6.25, which tells me the vertex is at the coordinate 1.5, -6.25. Cool, thanks for watching.